this announcement on February 7th is important for stimulus. I have all the details and what you need to know here in the video. Let's get into it and talk through the details. All right, now this is possibly one of the most unpopular questions that I get literally every single day down below in the comment section on videos, as well as when I host live streams in the comment section or the chat box on those. But it all comes down to stimulus. I get so many people here in the community reaching out asking about this, and I totally agree with you. Rightfully so. There's a lot of people out there that are really struggling financially, especially low income and fixed income, which is the majority of the people here in this community. Again, thank you so much for being here and for your support. I truly do appreciate all of you. Again, we've got to stick together right now. It is such a weird time that we've been living through for the last several years. But the questions that I continue to get are, hey, when are we going to get it finally? And how much is it going to be? Who's going to get it? When are we going to get this approved? I mean, the questions go on and on. I mean, it's asked in a variety of ways, but it all essentially comes down to, when are we going to get this? Finally, it's been years. They need to do something for us, especially the low income, seniors, people with disabilities, people living on a fixed income. Hey, I hear you. I'm totally there with you. I am there as well. I'm just like, hey, at what point is something like this going to happen, right? Now, here's the thing. I want to talk about Friday, February 7th, because in just a matter of days here, as we roll over to this, we'll be getting a very important announcement. And in my opinion, this is possibly the most important announcement that we get every single month, as it's predicated to the distribution of stimulus, okay? So that's just what I want to talk about really quickly. And again, this all ties into the distribution of, the approval of, the whatever, the questions, all these things like this that we need to continue watching. So 2025 has been a very interesting and eventful year so far, and we're honestly not that far at all into the year. We're only a few weeks in as of now. We've got a lot of the year to go, and a lot of big things are happening, which, by the way, they are currently working on actively, which they anticipate passing here soonish, within the next couple months, a multi-trillion-dollar package. So stay tuned on that as we get more details about the specifics. Of course, I will bring that to your attention right away, but that thing can include anything that they want, essentially. I mean, there's some restricted areas for the most part, but they can get a lot of stuff in there. A big old reconciliation bill, that's what they're working on, and they can basically cram anything they want into that, right? So that's what I'm saying. For a while now, I've been watching. Hey, watch this thing. It's going to be nuts. Or more like, don't watch it. I will watch it, and I'll bring you updates as I get more information on it, but that's likely going to be passing here soon, and based on the overall health of the economy, things like that, they can add whatever they want into it. It's going to be crazy to see this thing. It's going to be like a massive blue whale going through the ocean, right? So we'll just see what happens. But anyway, that's to come here. Stay tuned on that. Okay, so anyway, let's quickly talk about Friday here, okay? So Friday, February 7th, that is the first Friday of the month. What happens on that day? That is the day in which we will be getting the non-farm payroll number, otherwise known as the job report or the labor report, whatever you want to call it. It's all referring to the same thing, but it comes out the first Friday of every month, and it just so happens to be Friday the 7th is when we're going to get that. Now, in a second here, I'll wrap this all together, because you might be thinking, okay, I don't really care about that. I just want to know about stimulus and stimulus checks, stuff like that. I agree with you. It's all highly correlated. It's all highly tied together. But this is going to be the January job report. Now, it's kind of interesting, because here's why. Generally, November, December, we see hiring for seasonal helpers, right? We see seasonal workers coming in November and December to help with the holiday season. And then what happens in January? A lot of companies in January say, hey, guess what? The seasonal time of year is over. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to over your position. In other words, sorry, but your temporary position as a holiday helper, a seasonal helper is, sorry, we don't need you anymore, right? So in January, when they roll over to the new year, obviously here we are, right? I mean, we're still very early on in the new year. But basically what they do is they start letting go a lot of these seasonal helpers that came in for temporary work the last couple months of the year. So this being, February 7th, for this announcement, that'll be January's unemployment number, or January's jobs number. So what we're likely going to see, and again, who knows what's going to happen here, but we may see a pretty bad number, because we're going to see all these different, not a whole lot of hiring coming in the month of January, but yet a lot of jobs being lost because of the temporary work that came in. Does that kind of make sense? So either way, this will be another data point on the trend line that we've been watching for several months and honestly several years to determine the health of the overall economy. It's not just about the unemployment number. That's not it at all. In fact, the unemployment rate, who really cares about that? I mean, it's a number that we get. It gives us a little bit of a barometer, a little perspective. But at the end of the day, what we really want to watch, a couple different factors. Number one, how many jobs were created or lost in the month of January? That's number one. Let's look at that. Let's put the unemployment rate, the number aside, the percentage. Don't worry about that. Who cares about that? That's a distraction, in my opinion. But we also want to watch is what's going on with revisions. They're also going to give us revisions for the last couple months. Hey, we miscounted by X people. Is it positive or is it negative? We don't know. Historically, the last several job report readings that we've seen, we've actually been seeing significant revisions to the downside. In other words, hey, sorry, yeah, we miscounted by 80,000 people. Sorry, we miscounted by 45,000 people. Yeah, we're going to revise the number lower, right? Do you remember that a handful of months ago, they came back and revised lower? And we actually saw, technically with revisions, very, very, very bad numbers. Even though October was at like 12,000, bad stuff, right? My point is, when we see all of this lack of hiring, jobs that are being lost, and the labor participation rate, increasing or decreasing, in other words, less people working, the unemployment rate ticking higher, less and less jobs being created, average hourly earnings going down, that's a clear sign as to what's happening with the overall economy. Just think of it this way. And again, I've said this before, but when the economy is not doing good, what do? They inject it with stimulus. When the economy is doing great, when the economy is fine, when the economy is strong and robust, they don't inject it with anything. Why? No need to. But when the economy is not doing great, predicated on jobs and overall spending and GDP and things like this is when the overall economy is not doing great. And then they say, hey, we need to give this sucker an injection. How much should we inject it with? Well, I don't know. $1 trillion, $1.5 trillion, $2 trillion, whatever it is, right? And like we saw years ago, back in 2021, things like this, they over-injected. What happened when they over-injected? We saw tons of inflation because too much money chasing too few goods and services caused prices to go up. That's just how it goes, right? So anyway, just the act of printing money is not inflationary. The act of distributing money is not inflationary, but the act of spending money is inflationary. That's the difference there. If they print a bunch of money and push it out in the form of stimulus, it's not just going to sit there. People are not just going to sit there on that money. They're going to spend it, and that is what causes the inflation. That's what drives the inflation. But the simple act of just printing money does not cause inflation. It's the chasing of goods and services through too many dollars in the system is what actually drives prices higher. It's like a little bit of a bidding auction, right? So when you see an auction and a bunch of people are bidding on the same thing, prices must go higher. Too much demand for too limited supply. Does that make sense? So it's kind of what happens. But anyway, my point is, let's continue to watch. In my opinion, the jobs reports that come out every Friday, the first Friday of every month, when we get those numbers out, these are, in my opinion, the best barometer of the overall economy. It's not just predicated on this report at all, but it is a good barometer to see, hey, we've got this cooking under the hood here, and we've got some bad things going on. We see jobs being lost. We see the unemployment rate moving higher. We see revisions moving lower, revised lower. That's a clear sign that, hey, the economy's maybe not so hot. Businesses are not hiring. They're laying off people. Positions are evaporating. That's clearly showing us that, hey, businesses are struggling. At the end of the day, when that happens, that's kind of a self-fulfilling thing. When people get laid off, they cut back on spending. When spending is cut back by everybody across the economy, then we see less GDP growth, right? And again, it's all highly correlated when it comes to that. So anyway, hope this helps you. Again, I just want to point out what I'm watching here very closely. And at the end of the day, what we may be seeing coming here. Again, 2025 is going to be a very eventful year. It already has been. We've got a lot more to go here. We're only a few weeks in as of now. We've got a lot to go, and we've got multiple trillions of dollars worth of packages on the table here coming within the next handful of months. it's going to be very eventful. Anyway, I'm here for you. Please make sure to subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. As always, leave your comments, your questions, your feedback down below in the comment section. Otherwise, like I said, if you're new here or if you've done so, again, there's a big subscribe button. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm here for you every single day. Just want to do what I can for you to talk you through all this and just give you the details on what's popping up in the headlines and what may impact our money, our benefits, our finances, anything out there you can possibly grab and or take advantage of. Thank you for being here. Also, if you can think of one or two people that benefit from this information in this video or here on the channel from these videos, that if you think of anybody that should know this channel, please feel free to share this video with them. There's a share button down below as well. Thank you. I really, really appreciate your support. Also, check out the well over 5,000 videos here on the channel in the video library. The popular videos I've hand-selected for you down below in the description or the top of the comment section. And right now showing up on your screen as well. You'll see some videos there. Check those out. Again, please have a nice day. I'll catch you again later in the next video, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much.